the Chaldean oracles. And that comes out, I just recently learned about them. So I was just really excited about sharing it because I felt like it was such a great start for where we're going to go today. Like some of that stuff, basically all he's saying is your healing is within yourself, right? He's saying that you are your own healer, and don't be persuaded by propaganda. Don't be persuaded by the world. Make sure that you are grounded within your own divinity. So without further ado, I don't want to get too far off into that. That was just like a nice little precursor. I am so excited about having this angelic being here to bless us and to help clarify, just like what the man was saying. How do we stand in that truth? How do we begin to honor the divinity within ourselves? So as you guys know, those of you who have joined us before, we deal with sovereignty here. We deal with really being able to take responsibility for how you think, how you feel, and how you act, and take responsibility mainly for your physicality. Means that you are responsible for everything that goes into your mouth, and you take responsibility even for the world that you live in. Like, we are co-creators. We are not here to be slaves. We are not here to be subjected. So this is how we begin to take back those reins, right? I first met Sister Adama. She is the air shifters, and I met you through WRFG, and I will say you were changing lives even before you had the space that you are now. And I think that it's just befitting for you to have a location so that you can have a temple to do your work. It's almost like if people, you know, after people leave here today, they're going to know, and they already know. I've watched YouTubes with you and see how you have such a command of awareness. And I think that that's why I asked you here today, because I want to make sure that my family, my friends, my constituents have a sense of who you are and what you bring to the table for our healing in this process of becoming more sovereign. That you can't even become sovereign unless you take responsibility for your health and you start to recognize what that looks like, right? So send out a shout out to our WRFG family, because I do feel like those air shifters, as you say, have been so impactful in the area of Atlanta. I want them to know that they can catch you on WRFG.org, right? And that you have a time slot. You're going to go into that, I'm sure. But Malik Shabazz, Akhenaten, Tenacio, which he's not there anymore, but he's still doing great work, and Sister Tahita, Rest in Power, Karen Mason, all of those folks have been very, very impactful in the Atlanta area. But I have to give it to you. In the Heraldess, you are here sounding the trumpet. So thank you for participating in this today.
Thank you so much. And before we get started, I just have everybody to just take a deep breath. Ever present, cosmic supreme being. Oh, absolute, absolute reality. You are all there is. Oh, absolute and supreme intelligence, oh creator that is everywhere. We're so grateful and we're so thankful for all that has allowed us to come into this now moment of eternity to acknowledge that you are all there is as existence itself. You have gifted each of us and everything and everyone so much of yourself, and we are immersed in nothing but the divinity, the sanctity, the sacredness of life. And we thank you that we're ever more conscientious of how blessed we each are with each and every breath and every beat of our heart. We call forth the light of your absolute and supreme intelligence as we call forth the light of our own souls in this now moment, so that when we dispense with this, we have each been empowered, strengthened, inspired, uplifted, enhanced, and edified, so that we are taking in our own degrees of accountability and responsibility to ensure the progression of our lineages in the exaltation of a full effort in our living, our loving, our clearing, our cleansing, our purification, our renewal, our rebirth, so that the spirit of the living goddess and God is completely re-enthroned in our bodies that are being consecrated as temples, so that we are fully participatory in the emergence of the kingdoms and queendoms of light upon the planet, as the forces of Satan, Lucifer, the devil, and all of those are crumbling. Thank you for this now moment of eternity. Thank you for your love, your light, your wisdom, your truth, your peace, your poise, your power, and your potency. Thank you for the radiance and the brilliance of who we each are, and that this now moment is ours for the taking. Ashe, amen, on behalf of the eternal order, the eternal government, and the resurrection of our global humanity, Mother Earth, Mother Nature, and all of creatures. Ashe, amen. Thank you.
Ashe. Thank you for that. That was beautiful.
And so I am so grateful for every opportunity I have to speak into the hearts and the minds and the spirits of all of those who will reach for me, all of those who are tuning in, all of those who are listening, all of those who care. I am always addressing how do we respond correctly and directly to being under a global initiative of depopulation and genocide that has affected all of our families, that we're in a now moment where we must care, because we'll never do anything that we don't care to do. So the caring is a necessity to get to love, and love is the fulfillment of the law, and the law is an inherent part of existence, and justice is an inherent part of existence, and perfection is an inherent part of existence, and purpose in being is an inherent part of existence. And those ones who have taken responsibility to give us an orientation as to what success in life is did not do their own inner work to be harmonized with the will of existence, the laws of existence, the purpose of existence. So there is no way that we can truly be successful following those institutions that have participated in our miseducation, our indoctrination, our subjugation, capitalization, inebriation, intoxication, violation, and disconnect from the conscious realization of how blessed we absolutely already are as these living, loving, intelligent, potent, and immortal points of this absolute and supreme intelligence that is beginningless, endless, infinite, and eternal. For those of you who are not familiar with me, I have been intensely intentional all of my life since I was a child, watching the March on Washington. Everything in me knew that I should be progression of our lineages. Everything in me knew that everybody should be participating in the progression of humanity. And so, but it's necessary for us to be in a place where we understand that it is not by virtue of our education, our licensing, our certification, our degreeing that really secures our destiny. It is as a result of our coming into a wholehearted care, commitment to be completely cleared and cleansed and purified from having been fed like kids, having our cells and our tissues filled with the residues of nitrates, nitrites, BHA, BHT, artificial colors, artificial flavors, FD&C, blue lake dye, the flesh of dead animals, the aborted fetuses of chickens, the pus and mucus of cows, and all of this stuff that is laying foundation for all of the sickness, the illness, and disease that has hurted our people and all people like cash cows in multi-trillion-dollar business of sickness, illness, disease, and death. And so our inner working, our inner works in terms of how do we heal ourselves in order to be restored is to realize that we're always perfectly and divinely designed. And the cleansing on a daily basis, because the body is literally cleansing daily. Our facilitating internal cleansing on a daily basis allows us to become more harmonized with what we were told from the time that we were very young, in that thou shalt love thy mother, father, creator, God, thy Lord, with your whole body, heart, mind, with all of your might. And whether we stayed in the church or whether we came out of the church or whether we went into the Islam or whether we went into Hebrew Israelitism, if we went into this one or that one, it doesn't matter. We were all perfectly and divinely designed, and none of us are designed to be out of alignment with the purpose in existence, which is to exalt a full effort in our self-realization, our self-actualization, our harmonization with the will of existence, the intelligence of existence, the laws of existence that ensure that we are able to be the progression of our lineages and to work consciously towards a continuation in the exaltation of the divinity of who we each are, and having tapped that DNA, our inheritance, so that the gifts, skills, and abilities, the richness and the wealth of what we have already been given through our lineages has the opportunity to come into full manifestation, womb manifestation, and expression as our gift and our blessing in our now moment. And when it comes time to leave, we would have left the world better, not have died here. And so many ones feel as though diet is just about choice. And I'm saying, no, diet is not about choice. Even when you look at the word diet, is D-I-E, and the T that's at the cross as the cross. And that's what, as a child, got me to where I stopped going to church, because I realized that the cross was on the tombstones in the graveyard of the church. And when I looked up at the top of the church, the cross was on the top of the church and the cross was in the graveyard. And I say, well, I'm not going there anymore. Because and I was 11 at that time. I just didn't believe in death, and nobody could talk to me about why the children of God are dying when God doesn't die. So this why are people dying thing was with me from the time I was very young, from the time I was 6, actually, when my pediatrician, who had saved my life from open heart surgery at 4, was dead from leukemia by the time I was 6. Dr. Lulabelle Stewart, there's a center named for her in Detroit now. And I grappled with that question about death all of my childhood. And now as a woman, I am really reminding us that there's certain things that we've heard all of our lives, but we didn't really make the connection because we were taught that everybody dies. We were taught that death is the natural finality, culmination, eventuality, destiny, and fate of what it is to be alive. And people, and I think most children, if those of you who are on, did not ever have a thought about death from the time that you're very little. And sometimes we just get to a point where we accept it. It's like, well, sister, I've made my peace with dying. I know everybody dies. And I'm saying, no, we should not be dying. Dying is the wages of sin. That's what they say. Death. They said, no, the wages of sin is death. And those who believe on me shall have eternal life. So I'm like, well, how are you going to believe all? You're going to believe all of that. And the issue for us is coming to realize that we're already in eternity. We're on a biospheric intergalactic spaceship that is spinning in eternity. We've come into this realm through the sacred waters of our mother's womb, sparked by the sacred fluid of our fathers. And then we got absolutely no support in respecting the sacredness and the divinity and the sanctity of being, not just our own being, but all being, life itself. And so as heraldess of the eternal, I'm just reminding us of who we are, whose we are, why we are. and what we must do to be completely reconciled, harmonized, cleared, cleansed, purified, so that we are the insurance and the evidence of the resurrection and the emergence of the kingdoms and queendoms of God upon the planet. Because in my estimation, there isn't a thought that anyone can think that is greater than redemption and salvation and liberation for all beings to function in the order and the intelligence for which they were designed. And because we have been inundated with those who feel they have a right to kill, that if they ain't killing, they ain't happy. If they not oppressing and suppressing, and if somebody ain't dying, they are not happy. I'm just, I'm just saying, it's like that. It would be the most bizarre thing. Like when we were children, they had a program called The Twilight Zone. And with the Twilight Zone, it would be all of this, all this stuff that goes on. But now we're immersed in nothing but the Twilight Zone, even though we're in eternity. And so, no, we're having to take time on a daily basis to affirm and declare the absolute truth, because we were told, thou shalt know the truth and the truth will make you free. What is that truth? I am, and we each are these living, loving, intelligent, potent, and immortal points of this absolute and supreme intelligence that fills all spaces. It's all pervasive. There is nowhere where it is not. We can never be outside of it. We are held by virtue of it. And to remember it and to think about it, because we were told, as a man or woman thinketh, so is he or she. And so people have said to me, well, you know, you don't, you believe that you ain't gonna die. I said, there's no way for me to die. And I definitely ain't gonna be dying because I was stupid enough to be killing myself. Okay. And so they say, well, you believe that. And I say, well, it's a much greater thought than the one that you're thinking. You understand? So no, we can each choose what we want to think. But we were told to know the truth, and the truth would make us free. So there is that which we come to. And people used to say to me when I started radio in 1999, well, sister, nobody knows what the truth is. How do you know what the truth is? I said, you have just admitted that you yourself don't know the truth. That's what you just said. You know that you don't know, but know that those who have asked and those who have not and those who have sought can come to the truth, because that's what we were told to do. And that's what I'm saying. At this particular point in time, you can see that everything that is in your life, you asked for it to be there at some level. You thought about it at some level. There is power that we have now to envision an image, wholeness, and resurrection and liberation for all orders of existence itself, because nobody can tell us what we can't think and what we cannot accomplish. But womanhood has to be realigned and restored, because we cannot be a detriment to ourselves and our children and think that just because we went to church, think that just because we got a good word, think that just because we look good and we got our sexy back and now we vegan and vegetarians and you understand we could drop it like it's hot, that no. I'm just saying, womanhood is being called to be restored as those who have been given cosmic trust in the insurance of the progression of lineages. Our lineages, but all lineages, particularly those who come into our sphere of influence as teachers, as nurses, as administrators, whatever we got educated, licensed, certified, and degreed to do, none of that can absolve us of the responsibility of understanding duty, obligation, and responsibility as women in the exaltation of life, the perpetuation of life, the continuation of life, and to ensure the joy, the rejoicing, the celebration, the love, the cultivation, the conscious care. You understand? It's been given to us. And it has been through the violation, the subjugation, the degradation of womanhood that has allowed the world to be in such crisis at this particular point in junction. There have been very wonderful teachers and scholars who have gifted us so much information that have reminded us of the divinity of our African roots, have reminded us of so many ones who raised up and the revolutions that went on throughout Africa and Haiti and other places. And, you know, those whose names that we will never be able to call, but there's been very little to really remind us of the power that we have when we are completely in alignment with the will of existence, with the love of our being, with the truth that allows us to really be in a direct line of light with our angels, our guides, our guardians, our ancients, and to function under the auspices of our souls. And so through our clearing, our cleansing, through our disease reversal, getting off the medications, cleansing the cells, the methodology of our oppression has been to oppress us at our cellular functioning. And so I'm reminding us that liberation has to happen at the cellular level, because we are 80% water, like the earth is 80% water. Water is the medium of intelligence that holds frequency and vibration. If our cells and our blood have become thick with sludge, the pus and mucus of cows and eggs and cheese and flour products, pancakes, waffles, breads, biscuits, noodles, spaghettis, all of this stuff, then no, your waters are full of sludge. It's like polluted waters of the earth. You understand? So it's just so much you can get going if your cells are not elevated or cleared and cleansed so that they have been charged with the minerals that allow for the alkalization to hold the frequency and the vibration and to really allow us to generate exalted thought, because our blood has been clean and we have been properly nourished, and that we are able to ask and it will be given, to knock and the door would be open, to seek and we would find, to come to a point in place where through fasting and prayer, the desires of our heart would be granted unto us. And it becomes much easier to accomplish anything and everything, particularly the will of God, the light of God, the truth of God, the peace of God, the poise of God, and to walk in the power of who we are as men and women of this absolute and supreme intelligence that we refer to as God. And so our now moment is pregnant with opportunity. We have to consciously care to be cleansed. I provide protocols for the cleansing. And I wrote a book years ago called Liberation is a Cellular Function. And I did not try to publish the book because I realized it didn't make sense for people to have the book and then not have the protocols or the products to actually do the cleansing. And so those products are earth. And so my corporate name is Integrity Global Enterprises, Inc. I've always intended to be global. I've always strived for integrity because I saw that with all of the ones that I have met and known over the years, particularly as a radio air shifter, and the interviews that I've done and the personal walk that I've had with so many ones and the conversations that I've had and the sit downs I've had, and then to see us grow over 40 years, I realize integrity doesn't come easy. It's something that you have to strive for. The whole point in being influenced by those who do not have your best interest at heart and having been fed like kids is so that we do not have integrity. We could be bought and sold as we were bought and sold. We're still being bought and sold. And so the cleansing is to facilitate the removal of nitrates, nitrites, BHA, BHT, artificial colors, artificial flavors, all of that. And many of us, when we were youth, we craved the dirt, we ate the dirt, or we had a craving for chalk, cornstarch, argo starch. Anybody remember all of that? And so that craving was the DNA kicking in because the earth, the dirt, the clay that is found deep within the earth is magnetic. Our DNA was kicking in because Aboriginal, Indigenous, and Native people have always used the earth. And the clay is coming from deep within the earth, but it is magnetic. So when we drink it, put it in solution, bring it into the body, it goes through the system and it begins to attract and like a magnet begin to pull and loosen anything that is inorganic, viral, bacterial, chemical, microorganism and whatnot from the tissues. And we flush it from the system through clay water enemas, detoxification baths, to because our skin is our largest eliminative organ. And other than that, anything would have to come out through the bowel. There are many people who are taking all kinds of products, but they are not getting the chemicals and stuff out of the system, which is why I have seen so many vegan vegetarians pass away here in the Atlanta area in the 46 years that I've been here. And so the herbs, Dr. Sebi would say, the herbs are the cell food. And so we're drinking tea like people drink coffee that are literally so much herbs in it. And if most of my basic blend is a combination of the herbs that Sebi had in his $750 package. And I spent time with Sebi. I love Sebi and my aunt. I've taken their products, but I realized that the industry of health and wellness has made good food and healing privilege for those who can pay. And from the time I had Mother Earth's Adornments and Little 5 Points from 1994 to 1999, where I had a strict vegetarian restaurant, 14-item salad bar. We made everything daily from scratch, our veggie burgers, our soups, our salads, whatever. If you didn't have any money, you could eat. If you had $5, you could get a salad that had 14 items in it. You understand? Because I realized that it is your right. It is your right to be nourished. It is your right to be healed. It is your right when you're accepting correction to be helped in that process. Not based on just you being able to pay, but based upon that which is the will of God to see its children realigned, revitalized, revivified, and resurrected. And in our now moment, if you're not willing to do that work, then you'll never walk in the greatness of who you are. I don't care how many books you've read, how much certification, licensing, and degree. And I've seen 400-pound sisters say, you know, I am a Reiki master after a weekend. I'm like, really? So,
Right. You got
well,
to walk, ain't no way around it.
so we want to be in a place where you are literally on fire, that your spirit is on fire to restore the integrity of the divinity, the sanctity, the sacredness, and your right alignment with that which allows you to have the fullness of everything that you could possibly desire. And to have your no vanity about it. You understand? See, a lot of people, they just, you know, it's about things. It's about the materialism. They want to have the real big house and the really nice cars and, you know, and they get you on their Instagrams and they get you on their sites. And it's like, well, if you want this, then, you want to have all this, then join our thing and pay this money and we'll coach you and you'll do, and you can have all of that. But when it come time to leave, you can't take any of it with you. And if your whole focus while you were on the earth was about worldly things, then you've not prepared yourself for existence beyond the earth. But existence doesn't stop. It shouldn't stop. But if you've been killing yourself while you were worshiping the paper, you understand? And I love money as much as everybody, but what do I do with money? I invest in the dirt. I invest, I invest in the earth. I invest in the plants. I invest in the water. I invest in the fruit and the vegetation and whatnot, so that I, as well as everybody around me, can be healed and healing and nourished. And so it matters what we do daily, because when you multiply the number of years that you have lived times 365, you will get the total number of days that you have lived thus far. From the first day that you came out your mother's womb, somebody bathed you until you could bathe yourself. And so I think I had a couple of conversations with 47-year-olds today. That was 17,155 days of life. And I'm saying, for all of those days of life, somebody bathed you until you could bathe yourself. Now tell me, how many days did you go without brushing your teeth and washing your body between your legs and the crack of your behind? How many days have you gone without any kind of hygiene? And very few people can say they've gone more than a couple of days at a time without bathing and without cleaning their mouth. All right, so this is an issue. To chew the flesh of a dead animal, to smoke tobacco, to vape, to eat artificially colored, artificially flavored hard candy, soft candies, whatever, it's just going to leave bacteria in the gums. And over time, we're having issues with our teeth because we have been eating that which has no minerals. And so we don't even think about the bacteria that stays in the mouth. So I have a tooth powder that's a part of my program for that. But then if you will clean your mouth, and the mouth is the entry point of all of this stuff getting into the body, then why would we not want to find a way to cleanse the body internally if we would clean the mouth, the entranceway? And so we don't think about it because the industry of health and wellness and whatnot put us in a place where we think that we just need to do a cleanse every now and again. Just cleanse every now and again. Every spring, do a spring cleansing, do a liver cleanse, do a gallbladder cleanse, do a colon cleanse, do a blood cleanse. And I'm saying, no, we need to be cleansing. We need to be cleansing every day because the body is trying to cleanse every day. Whatever it is we're consuming, you're masticating in order to liquefy it, to be able to extract anything that is life-giving, life-supporting, nutritionally edifying, to get that. But you don't get any of that from meat, dairy, eggs, chicken, fish, pancakes, waffles, breads, biscuits, pizza, cheese, you don't get any of that. You just get mucus.
Now let me ask you something about the need to cleanse all the time. Does that have more to do with the toxicities that are just all around us, or have we always kind of needed to have that as a habit, or is this something new that is part of the industrial age in terms of the need to cleanse the way that we deliberately have to cleanse now?
Well, I say that the body is naturally cleansing daily. Now, had we never been given meat, dairy, eggs, chicken, fish, flesh, flour, sugar, alcohol, tobacco, and we were fed from the time that we came out the womb, we were breastfed, then we went on fresh fruits, leafy greens, vegetation, we're facilitating the body's cleansing in that. But because we've had meat, dairy, eggs, chicken, fish, flesh, flour, alcohol, tobacco, sugar, and all of this over 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, and then there's heart disease, diabetes, this, and this. Yeah, we have to facilitate the cleansing in order to really have the opportunity for healing. And then you have to facilitate the healing to have the opportunity for your empowerment.
Well, I guess my question has to do with the environmental toxins, because
Well,
it's at an
the issue
all-time high.
the issue is this: your first environment is your body.
Mm.
And that's why I'm focusing so much internally, because we really are not in a position to estimate or guesstimate how much nitrates, BHA, BHT, artificial colors and stuff is in the body. But when we realize that the earth as a biospheric intergalactic spaceship that is perfectly and divinely designed is spinning in eternity, there's a cleansing that is happening environmentally. You understand? Now, if your house is full of pressed formaldehyde and you understand, and your vents are this and that and the other, then no, there's that which you get outside, and people call it grounding and stuff. You understand? So we're having to remember where we are dwelling in the presence of this absolute and supreme intelligence that is beginningless, endless, infinite, and eternal. What's really affecting people is what is in the body, more so than what's outside.
Okay.
But the earth has still everything that we require in order to have leverage over it. We've been in a mindset to give Caucasian, European, Western stupidity that we have in error called white supremacy. There is no such thing as white supremacy. What we have seen is the evidence of stupidity and idiocy on crack to think that you can marginalize, anesthetize, inebriate, intoxicate, violate, capitalize, murder, enslave, and all of this, and then profit and be healthy. That's the evidence of a sick people. So let's call it what it is. Sick people have created a global initiative of sickness, illness, disease, and death as popular and common activity, collective learning and education, and the path of prosperity. But the earth herself is still spinning in eternity. The earth herself is still being cleansed by forces that we cannot even acknowledge. Don't mean that they don't exist. It just means that we are having to really remember that the intelligence of existence is so intelligent that it is not going to allow stupid people to marginalize it and keep it from doing what it does. So this is one of the reasons why 90% of all of the antibiotics are used on the animals that are being fed for human consumption, because the organisms are so intelligent that no matter how much antibiotic they get, they just get stronger and stronger. That's why they're having to keep increasing the amount of antibiotics. All right, but they continue to get stronger and stronger. So I'm just saying, no, I am reminding us that we have come from another realm of eternity into this realm. There is nothing that is greater. There is no combination. These people cannot create from anything other than what was already in existence.
Right.
But the intelligence of existence is greater than all of it. The intelligence of existence that is beating our hearts and breathing us, it has the earth spinning, the sun blazing and whatnot, it cannot really be suppressed and oppressed. It is going to continue to exalt a full effort in its continuation. Nothing that they do is going to stop this. And so this is why I'm saying is that our liberation, our resurrection is coming as a result of our alignment with the divinity, the sanctity, the sacredness, and the intelligence of existence itself. And this allows us to get beyond all of the divisiveness. You understand? So we heard divide and conquer, and religion was the first area of divisiveness that was established. So if you worship God, You worship Jah over here. You worship Allah over here. You worship Jehovah over here. You worship Jesus over there. You worship Alegba. You worship, you understand? So everybody's divided based on that first. Now it's that plus the social economics, plus the education, plus the money, plus now we're divided as human feeders.
Hmm.
Useless eaters, as they say. So I'm vegan. No, I'm vegan. I'm vegetarian. No, I'm a raw foodist. No, I'm a carnivore. No, I'm keto. Oh, and I'm like, y'all ain't none of that. You all are these points of an absolute and supreme intelligence, and we are naturally breatharian, which means that there isn't anyone who could exist without breath.
Hmm.
And we could do without all of the food. We don't have to have any of it and live and be more vital than ever before.
Even with the quality of air that we're dealing with now.
The air is being purified with the spinning of the earth. Now, when you think about all of the wars, all of the wars that America has engaged in, and the wars that are going on now, and we wake up and it is still absolutely beautiful outside. Yeah. I'm just saying, is that we are immersed in the forces of existence. And the immersion of being in eternity and being under the auspices of intelligences of existence. It's like beyond, it's like it's unfathomable in a way, but we know that there has to be something more because men don't blaze this sun. Men don't have the world spinning. Men are not beating our hearts and breathing us. And so we're taking our attention away from the bastardizers, usurpers, to restore our or put our attention on that which is the intelligence of being that is so diverse. The cosmic conformity is the multiplicity of diversity, but everything and everybody is just another unique expression of this absolute and supreme intelligence that we refer to as God.
So I guess the question that comes up, and I want to make sure we give everybody an opportunity to put questions in the chat if you have questions before we open up the mics. The question that comes to mind is, what does that look like to us as, you know, with all of the stuff that might be going on in our heads? Some of us can hear you, and then there are those who have so much noise because of the mucus, because of all of this stuff that actually affects our brain and affects the way that we think about ourselves, right? And even the Christ consciousness that has gotten us, I mean, not the Christ, I'm sorry, the Christianity, because the Christ consciousness is good, right? But it's that overwhelming ideal of what religion is and the way that we interact with it. How do we begin to embody that which you were talking about? What does that look like when we begin to take responsibility from that perspective?
It looks like a consistent mindfulness that none of that beats your heart and breathes you. We are the evidence of the divinity. The fact that we are is the evidence of our blessedness, our worthiness, and our deservedness. And so the focus becomes being grateful and thankful for the blessedness in being.
Yes.
You understand? Because there is no thing, and no collection of things that you can beg, borrow, steal, be awarded or rewarded that is greater than who and what we already are, but naked. All right, I'm just the one to remind us. You could put all of the money that has ever been printed, all of the coin that has ever been minted. It doesn't have the value of one beat of our heart or one breath that we take. So when you walk upon the planet, you know that the earth is your footstool and the heavens are your ceiling, and you are completely limitless in terms of what you can accomplish. Now, the issue is, what do you want? And I'm saying, no, I'm the one to set the precedent a little higher. No, we want to walk in the fullness of the intelligence of who we were born to be as these points of the presence of God. because there's not a freaking thing that these people have given us that is truly the evidence of who we really are. Now, they have proven that we have always been able to do what they can't do. Which is why I said they have proven that we can always do what they can't do.
Yes. Like they say, they hate us because they ain't us, right? It's
You
true.
understand? So when I was serving Coretta Scott King in 2004, and I told her, I said, Mrs. King, I was a child watching the March on Washington, and everything in me went like this. I knew that I am to be the progression of that movement. I knew that we all should be the progression of that movement, but we would be in a different place had you all asked the right question. She said, what question is that? I said, you should have asked what makes a man or what makes a people feel entitled to capture you, beat you, rape you, enslave you, hang you, set you afire, castrate you, whip you, declare that you're less than human and we have no rights that they have the responsibility to respect. But then they needed us. Their whole economy is based on us. What makes them that way? She said, what makes them that way? I say, they're that way because their blood burns hot with the rot of pigs and cows and turkeys and chicken and alcohol and tobacco and white sugar and pastries and pastas and all of this glue and all of this that makes them, creates all of this blockage and obstruction. So we've been oppressed through the filth of the bloodstream. The spirit is charged upon the blood. The cleaner the blood, the greater the clarity. So in our restoration, the cleansing allows us to get that blood clean so that we are literally, in effect, creating what we refer to as the blood of Christ, because we've heard salvation comes through the blood of Christ, but we didn't know what that looked like. All right. And I'm saying, no, it looks like a bloodstream that no longer bears the violation of violated beings or the residues, the nitrates and nitrites, the BHA, the BHT, the behavior modifiers, and all of that, to get to a point in place where we've got the minerals. We've been drinking the teas. We've been doing the enemas. We've been sweating these poisons out. We have been, getting our breath work on. We've been dwelling in the presence of this absolute and supreme intelligence as a conscious thought, a conscious meditation with each and every breath. So when I go through and I'm awakening, I'm waking up in prayer, I'm praying my way through the day. We were told, thou shalt love thy mother, father, creator, God, thy Lord, with your whole body, heart, mind, with all of your might. What does that look like? It looks like mindfulness. It looks like thoughtfulness. Thou shalt pray without ceasing. What does that look like? That looks like you are acknowledging, dwelling in the presence of this absolute and supreme intelligence with each and every breath and every beat of our heart. Because whatever they're doing, it doesn't interfere with what we must do. You understand? Now, I have been through many situations and circumstances, hospitalizations, this, that, and the other, as many people have. And I'm saying our salvation was not just so that we can get happy killing ourselves. Our salvation was so that we can be completely committed to that which was our saving grace. You understand? Our angels, our guides, our guardians, our ancients. And now we're having the opportunity to come under the auspices of our souls through our obedience and our obedience. Loving the law, loving the Lord with our whole body, heart, mind, with all of our might. It's ritualizing our lives. See, we have habits, but then we turn our habits into rituals, and rituals keep God at the center of it. We were told from the time we were young, cleanliness is godliness. All right, but grandma and them had us cleaning the windows. They had us sanding the floors.
But our bodies, so. Like, what about my
They had us putting plastic all over the furniture.
While we eating pork at the dinner table. Yeah, my grandmother and sipping coffee at 5. Trust me, I was there. Yeah, let me just go into, I want to ask you a question because I want you to put a name on it if you can. A lot of the energy that you're coming from is an emotional healing that has to happen for us. And it comes from the heart chakra. Somebody told me that, of course, you can't really heal your head without healing your heart, and your stomach is connected to the heart. All of these are, part of it. And a lot of our wounds are heart wounds. A lot of the reason why we eat the way that we eat is not because we don't have other choices or that we don't even know better, is because our heart is still wounded, right? So the self-esteem comes out the heart, right? It's like you can't invoke God if you don't believe or be life the idea that God dwells within you, and God dwells within the heart chakra, and it emanates, right? It comes from all of it, right? But it's that emanation is really like when you have your heart right, you can, so I guess the question that I have for you is, if you had to give it a name, like I know anger, where does anger and fear and self-deprecation, where does all of that, how do we begin to heal that kind of stuff? Because it's there.
Well, I say that one, the desire to be cleansed. All right. And we have to acknowledge the agenda. You understand? We have to acknowledge the agenda. So when I deal with clients who are carrying all of this anger and frustration and whatnot because of their violation, I'm saying, do you not think that the Aborigine were not violated?
Right.
You understand? Central South American natives were not violated. I mean, violation is across the board. You are not by yourself. The issue is, will you come to a point where you will no longer participate in your own self-violation? Will you stop? Will you stop undermining yourself, making excuses? I'm saying whatever was done, that was the past. Now you're having to make a decision as to what you want with your life, but your life is your gift. And it's a trick to have us in a place where we don't want to live. We don't want to live. We don't want to get married. We don't want to have no babies. We don't.
Right.
we don't want to do any of the things that we have seen done because we didn't see it done right because of the alcohol, the tobacco, the sugar, being fed like kids, so that we were literally initiated from the womb on the path of adulteration. So by 21, we were labeled adult. Adult is short for adulterated. So we know shame, gang, guilt, blame, molestation, sexual indiscretions. We know a lot by 21 that really puts us in a position where you can't feel the worthiness and the deservedness. But most of us, that was taken from us in feeding us the carcasses of dead animals. You understand? Because it creates a desensitization towards the right of other beings to have the right to their lives. You understand? So the violation was charged upon our blood from the time we were very young. And when your blood is violated, when you are literally steeped in violation, it becomes easier to attract violation into your experience.
Okay, we're going to get to some of these questions. I see you guys asking questions in the chat in just a few minutes. I do want to ask you in terms of, eat right for your blood type. There are a lot of us that, believe that we need the proteins, or we need certain things that are not necessarily, that go against the grain of our beingness, but is part of our blood makeup because of the miscegenation of the bloodline. Or, is it the need for a European different than the need of an indigenous person, or the need of a Semitic different than, you know what I'm saying? So are those legitimate, or are we just being led astray with these concepts?
Well, the one thing, the first day that I was with Mrs. King, she gave me that book. She says, what do you think about this, that eat right for your blood type? All right. So I went to O positive because I'm O positive. And I'm saying, well, I was 7 when I realized I shouldn't eat meat. I was 7. Okay, so I was 7. And I'm saying that as a 7-year-old, I did not need an Adamo or a PhD or a scientist or anybody else to tell me that I needed to eat meat when I knew in every fiber of my being that I shouldn't eat it because I love animals. Now, the issue is where there's absolute law that says thou shalt not kill, then no, if thou shalt not kill, then thou shalt not eat of the flesh of that which has been killed. But of course, we have been raised by killers.
Mhm.
You understand?
Mhm.
How did we get here? Through the trade of barrels of rum and gunpowder. Okay, I'm just saying that killing is part of the primary violation that everybody has participated in that's creating so much karmic debt to them.
Mhm.
That no, at this particular point in time, sister, I'm going to say this to us. We are these points of an absolute and supreme intelligence that is beginningless, endless, infinite, and eternal. Every body is perfectly and divinely designed. There are no bodies that require the flesh of dead animals. The flesh of a dead animal has to rot in the body. We do not have the hydrochloric acid to liquefy it like carnivores who have a tubular digestive system and 200 times the hydrochloric acid being excreted in their digestive system. We don't have that. You understand? And we definitely don't have the gumption to get out and start killing squirrels and rats and cats and dogs, because those are the animals that we find in our environment. So even if we were flesh eaters, we would not be eating the flesh of cows and pigs and chickens because they're nowhere naturally in our environment.
Right.
These are hybridized creatures for human consumption. I had a radio show. My radio show has been going on since 1999, and I'm still on air. So a few years ago, before COVID,
WRFG.org.
WRFG.org, the meeting of the inner circle every Thursday night from midnight to 3 a.m., dealing specifically with the issues of our liberation. So the phone lines were open. I'd already done my 30 minutes of music, my 30-minute monologue, and then I'm going in and going off. And the brother calls, he says, well, sister, I got 5 squirrels in my freezer. And when I finish eating my 5 squirrels, then I'm going to call you to get cleaned up.
Ah, oh my God, those are like little rats. He was determined to finish his squirrels.
I say, brother, you may not live to eat those squirrels because I'm calling you offensive and guilty for being in violation of killing them in the first place.
Was he from Georgia? Who does
Yeah,
squirrels?
he was right here in Atlanta.
Oh my God, they're so helpless. Like, why squirrels? They feel like little rats.
No, but just what I'm saying is that there is no way that we should be eating all of this. And I think that we have a natural inclination to things that we love and things that we don't care for.
Yeah.
And it's an internal process. And I think that for where we are, to realize that Mother Earth does not really produce starches, that starches are cultivated foods.
Hybrids.
You understand? So that when we realize what Mother Earth intended for us in terms of the oxygenation we're getting from the air, the water, the minerals from the herbs, and the water and fiber that we get from our fresh fruits and vegetation, then that is enough, particularly for where we are as a result of having been fed like kids and our bodies being so full of all of the mucus and the plaque and the fat and the cholesterol and all of that, that the body is so intelligent that once you stop eating all of that, it goes into cleanse mode. And we are just going to facilitate opening up the channels of elimination so that which is being loosened up can actually get out.
Yeah.
On a daily basis.
So before we go into these questions, because I see a lot of folks asking questions, give us a sense of positive dietary foods, because we're going to go and maybe ask some questions about what we should be eating, what we shouldn't be eating. What are some of the whole foods that actually support the process of cleansing for those who are not necessarily used to fasting and maybe want to gradually move in towards a full fast? What are some of the suggestions that you might have for us to start moving away from the meat? Or like, what's one of the better meats, even for those? Is chicken better than fish? Is fish better than?
No, it's all dead. It's all dead. And you're supporting people who hate you when you buy it.
What about
All right,
eggs?
I'm just saying.
I know how you feel about
Not
eggs. I just want you to go ahead and
now
say
the
it.
egg. Now this is an issue. You're dealing with a people who eat everybody's babies. The egg is the genetic information, chromosomes, and hormones of another creature. Had it been allowed to develop, it would be another creature. Now, I would tell brothers all the time, would you eat your mama's eggs? You understand? Are you going to eat your mama's eggs? Now, that same species, same genetics. Why are you going to eat the genetic information, hormones, and chromosomes of a hybridized creature and think that it can be digested and you can get something from it when your body is 80% water and you require mineralization that facilitates the alkalization that is necessary for consistent cellular regeneration, repair, and exalted thought? All right, so the aborted fetus frequency is what's causing all of the fibroids. The pus, the mucus of cows, all this cheese and all of this stuff. The body is so intelligent that it does not know what to do with any of that. We're having our gallbladders taken out, our tonsils taken out, our appendixes removed, our uteruses removed, our ovaries removed, our fallopian. You understand? I'm just saying is that no, all of this comes because we are in violation of the perfect and divine design of our bodies as temples for living spirits that have come into this realm from eternity, that we are already immortal and we're killing ourselves. So you're fasting every day. All right. So people say, oh, I don't fast. No, you're fasting every day.
Right.
All right. The issue is when you break fast, you want to break fast with fresh fruit, juicy fruit. If you've had problems with bloating, indigestion, all of that, any of it, if you're overweight, all right, the being overweight means that you are either retaining waste or you're eating that which the body doesn't know what to do with. It's a waste of money. Whatever you're eating, it's a waste of money because real fuel for your system is not going to leave excess waste to accumulate. What is creating the excess waste is that which we refer to as food: meat, dairy, eggs, chicken, fish, flesh, flour, sugar, and then the weapons of mass destruction, the alcohol, the tobacco, and now they're vaping and destroying the integrity of the lungs, which are the organ of the spirit. So we have to be in a place where fresh fruit has the water, it has the fiber. People say, oh, well, I do a smoothie. I'm saying, no, it's not a smoothie. It's fresh fruit that you need to go through your digestive system to help facilitate opening the elimination. Just to do a smoothie, most of the clients that I have are drinking smoothies, but their bowels are still not moving the way that they should. So if I have somebody, most of the average weight of most of the clients that call me are 200 plus pounds, right? I had a conversation with a sister today, 4'11" and a half, 230 pounds. That's the evidence that she's eating stuff that the body cannot utilize as fuel. So we want to make a discernment between that which is fuel and that which is food. Food, as we know it, as we've experienced it, is a tool of oppression. It oppresses our cellular functioning. It does not oxygenate. It does not hydrate. It does not mineralize. It does not alkalize, nor is it easily eliminated, or nor does it literally facilitate exalted thought, creativity, and conscious exception of your immortality. Food is oppressive. It blocks and obstructs. All right.
The so-called
All
food.
that which is food. We're going to call food what it is. It's oppressive. So we're calling fruit, and vegetation.
Okay.
And that fuels the body.
Got it.
All right. So that which we refer to as food as we've grown up is neither here nor there. We don't have to have it.
So do you believe, like, I can't remember if it was Dr. Goss or I know it wasn't Sabi. He believed that if it came out of the ground, it was healthy. Are there fruits and vegetables that we need to stay away from? What about this GMO stuff? What about apples? What about oranges? Are those good for us?
They're oranges and things that I don't eat. You know, I've never eaten the navel oranges, ever eaten navel oranges. Generally I deal with the Hamlin oranges, of the thin ones coming out of Florida, you know, and so I look at it and then I work with a pendulum also.
Okay.
And the pendulum allows me, I'll go and it'll tell me, should I get this? And it'll say yes, or it'll say no, regardless. All right. Now, the issue for us is that we're so focused on feeding. I'm wanting us to focus on cleansing and and to use fresh fruit, juicy fruit, your melons, but to eat one thing at a time
Okay.
so that it gives the digestive system a chance to reboot. All right. Now
A
I am
watermelon. Like get a watermelon and just eat that watermelon, or get
right, exactly.
a
Because
mango.
when you go right, you just eat that. So sometimes I'll do like 4 or 5 mangoes will be my break fast. But this is after I've done my enemas, my cleansing, and had my tea
Mm.
by the time I break fast. Because the tea has so much nutrition that you may not even have a desire for eating because the cells are being nourished. What we are dealing with is how do we respond to cellular oppression? And
Mhm.
the way to do that is through cellular liberation. So we're cleansing daily, facilitating that process. And those who don't think that they have any waste to lose will lose about 30 pounds. All right. But the issue is that the excess waste that leaves is going to leave your consciousness. You're going, and that's what happened to me when I changed my diet at 20 at the University of Florida. I went from eating everything to having fresh fruit in the morning and huge salads in the evening. I went from 127 pounds to 103. I'm only 5 feet tall. Right. And so I'm just saying from
Mighty house, though.
127 to 103 in less than 45 days with no additional exercise, but I did not have to labor over my books. Right. I'm in my major courses in sociology and psychology at the University of Florida. 30,000 students. Of the 30,000, 1,500 were Black.
Mm.
All right. And so the curriculum is really designed to weed you out. But
Mm.
being fed like kids all of your life means that no, it's going to be a struggle for you
Mhm.
to really get it. But man, I got so clear so fast that I was able to retain the information, go to class, listen to what was being said, hear what was not being said, read between the lines, form the critical questions, and bring my professors to their freaking knees. They cried like babies with me. You
Mm.
understand? But in connection with that change of diet, there was an intensity of intention towards absolute truth. There was an intensity of intention to understand why it is that Black Americans are dying in such a disproportionate percentage,
Mm.
which is what the sociology was saying.
Right.
20,000 Black Americans die every year from sugar diabetes. Another 15,000 Black Americans are dying every year from complications from obesity. Another 12,000 dying from cancer. It is another 8,000 from cancer. That da 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 da. But then by the time I hear about their global 2000 plan to eliminate 3.5 billion people from the face of the earth, I'm like, oh hell no! I am not giving you another freaking dime.